but we're watching this video. Let me show you. Feel free to share your woes or your stories or your opinions about what we're gonna watch, because I'm probably gonna pause and insert my opinions in there
A couple of weeks ago, I
too.
was having dinner with a friend and overheard what had to be a first date at the table right next to us.
Making some food. Ooh,
The
what are you
conversation was
cooking?
awkward at first as they both seemed to struggle to get a good flow going.
That game definitely
I
makes
looked
you
over
hungry.
a bit later to see that they were now much more engaged in discussion. They shared their interests and had started looking each other in the eye more often.
I've always hated dating. Like, I just wanted to find a good woman and be in a long-term committed relationship. I always have this like toxic belief that dating for guys is a little bit easier because you guys get to choose. And us girls are just like getting to reject, which is not fun to be the rejected side. But at least you have a choice, you know? And for us, it's like we're sitting ducks. We don't get to choose. And that sucks. Also, a lot of the dating game, kind of like in my perspective, depends on the guy's intention. I've been with my wife for almost 13 and a half years. Let's see. That's like 2012. Is that where you met? 2011, 2012. Man, things have changed so much. Next month we'll have been married for 8 years. We had a long engagement. Yeah. Things are so different now. Now there's not even dating. Now it's just like people are not even, well, let's watch the video and see what, like, I think people are not even talking to each other now. Even if you go on a dating app, it's super rare that you actually talk to each other. A lot of people, men from like perspective, like, you match with people and they don't even start a conversation. It's so wildly crazy. This woman just takes every chance to make me blush. Stop blushing. Sorry, I had to give you a toxic comment. Are you really blushing? Prove it.
They even touched hands.
2011.
Slowly, the pair of them seemed to grow affectionate towards each other. I went to the bathroom and the guy on the date
Why
walked
are
in
they
and
showing
used the
us a
urinal
close
next
up
to me.
of the bathroom?
And to my greatest shock, right there on his phone was an open dating
I
app.
feel like I've
With
seen
his
too
less
much.
busy hand, he was swiping left and right.
Dr.
Back at the
Trouble,
table,
hello?
he ended the date abruptly and called it a night.
Dude went to
Just
the bathroom
like that,
to
he
swipe,
was moving on to the next option available
and
to
he
him at
left her
just
on the
click of a
spot?
button. Maybe I'm a bit out of touch, but what I witnessed seemed so cruel and callous
Yeah.
that I asked myself, is that what dating
Hopefully
is
he
like now?
didn't leave her with the
Where we just
bill.
swipe human beings left or
I tell you, I'm on TikTok and ladies over there tell crazy stories of some dude ordering like huge amount of food, going to the bathroom and leaving her there with all the bill and the food and everything. It's happening.
right, discarding and approving potential mates on our quest to
15
lasting
years now,
romance,
he moved
a
in
one-night
14
stand,
years
or
ago. It
something
doesn't
in
feel like
between.
dating anymore.
Let's get one thing out of the way first. Dating sucks and has always sucked.
But you guys are together.
Every date you go on, whether from an app or a more natural arrangement, you set yourself up for the strong likelihood of
Diamond
being
Kid has a
disappointed
question.
or disappointing someone else.
Shoot!
You might get your heart broken when your love is unrequited, or have to tear someone's heart out when you're just not feeling it.
Dr. Trouble,
You might
how
say
are
the
you
wrong
feeling?
thing, or your date might not even show up. These worries are the same now as they have been since romantic love became a thing in the 19th century. There's less emphasis on men needing to
He pointed that out with such like confidence as if it's in the history books that
These worries are the same now as they have been since romantic love became a thing in the
romantic love became a thing in the 19th century. Did you guys know that romantic love did not exist beforehand?
19th century. There's less emphasis on men needing to pick up their date in a hot rod and buy them dinner
Yeah, I
and
used to
drinks.
struggle with that.
And of
Diamond
course,
Kid,
gay
true.
and lesbian dates are more common, but otherwise, many of the worries are the same.
Have you found anything of a solution about
Sadly,
migraine?
though, there is something distinctly different and more sinister about the world of online dating. You may need to be older to remember, but online dating first became a thing in the mid-90s and was heavily stigmatized at the time.
Us old people remember? Oh my god, I remember seeing this tape, and you guys probably know this. It's like a guy on a videotape getting crazy, and there used to be these tapes where you like sit down on a chair and they film you, and you tell a little bit about yourself and what you're looking for. Or there used to be like phone lines where you just call and you have no idea what who you're talking to, what they look like. Dating back in the day, they used to even have it on newspapers. You'd see like a newspaper ad, divorced with 2 children looking for this and that. Call me.
Using Match.com or Kiss.com was for people who couldn't handle the real
I
world
don't,
of dating.
Diamond Kid. Once I start
Culturally,
getting
it
the
was seen
migraine,
as a
I
sign
just
of weakness.
go
Just
to the
like everything
bedroom,
else that came with the internet, online
turn
dating
the
grew and
lights
the
off,
potential dangers grew with it.
put some binaural
Meeting a
beats,
stranger, especially alone,
and
poses
try
a
to
risk.
go to sleep.
Dating apps pose a slightly aggravated risk because they tend to attract an outsized portion of psychopaths and love addicts,
Blame
with
Lucio!
one seeing you as a victim and the other as their savior.
Oh.
That's not to suggest that you'll end
Never
up at the
look
bottom
for a
of the river
savior
if you
in
go on
the
a few
other
online
half.
dates, but that, at the very least, you might have had a really bad experience or two. When services like eHarmony arrived, they made a stronger case for computer-based matching using more detailed information.
What is
The
eHarmony? I've
services
never heard
required
about
you
that.
to take a quiz and would then try to pair people up based on their compatibility. Then in 2012, everything changed when Tinder arrived
Hi,
on the
Blame
scene.
Lucio.
The premise was
Oh my
simple.
god, I
Once
had
you
no idea that Tinder was so old. 2012. Logan, you were like already 1 year into your relationship with your now wife. Where was I in 2012?
opened the app, you were greeted with a multitude of options for a potential mate.
I didn't have an
huge
iPhone,
picture
I
and
tell
a
you
tiny
that.
description about them stared you right in the face. All you had to do was swipe right
I
if
don't
you were
think I had
interested
a
and left
smartphone.
if you weren't. If two people swiped right on each other, bingo, they matched and they could start a conversation. Even with just this basic
Have you guys
understanding of
ever
how
been
dating
on
apps
Tinder?
work, it
How many
shows
of
how
you
much
have
we've
been on
managed to
Tinder
turn people
before?
into a commodity. This swiping feature isn't much different than flipping through products on a carousel ad you might see on Facebook or Instagram, or sifting through the different brand names in
Diamond,
the
could
grocery
you
store.
also suffer from migraines?
Right, left. Is this really how we want to be viewed by others?
No, that's not how it goes. It goes left, 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 left. Ooh, maybe. Okay, right.
Think about it, you're looking for someone to be intimate
I've been
and
together a
vulnerable
while,
with,
my longest
and we're
relationship
presenting
by
ourselves
far.
like a flavor of chips on a shelf.
What was your longest beforehand?
Realistically, how much can you expect from a relationship that starts out almost transactionally?
Have you ever been
The
on
state of
other
modern
dating
dating
apps?
is the consequence of the system that we've created. Dating on these apps is now ruthless, with ghosting, no-shows, and hostile and inappropriate messaging being much more common.
Yeah, I really think that dating apps distributed that ghosting as something normal in society. I still think that people used to do it, but it was in much lesser percentages of people just disappearing on each other back in the day before dating apps. I think there's a boom of that ghosting culture, if we can even call it that, ever since Tinder became a thing.
Meeting up with someone on a
Bad
dating
things
app is no
about
different
Tinder.
than trying to buy or sell something on Kijiji.
I wonder what
If
it is
one of
like
the parties
in the
loses
UK.
interest, they typically just don't show up. No message, no courtesy call, they just move on.
What?
This is bad enough when you're trying to just buy a product, but much
Okay, have you ever been stood up on a date? I have once been stood up on a date, and I tell you, like, the experience is surreal. I don't ever want to go through it because it's like such a weird experience. You feel like you're in a movie. And I don't understand, like, the selfishness. And it's a gift. I totally think that it's a gift. It's good that the person just reveals who they are before you even get the chance to know them, and you never get to see them again or talk to them, and that's cool. It's like an immediate block. But it's such a weird experience, and to be able to do that to another person, you have to be not only callous in my brain, but also like very lacking in empathy and compassion, because if you do it to another but you don't want that done to yourself, then you're freaking selfish. And imagine treating people like that on the normal.
worse when the product is your time, attention, and emotions. When an app treats people like products on a shelf, this attitude rubs off on its users. You're not swiping right on a human being, you're swiping on a product. And if that
3.5
product doesn't
years.
seem desirable anymore,
Slowly
discard it.
fell apart.
and these are the factors of dating apps before we've even considered how their algorithms factor in. Although Tinder insists it doesn't use the system anymore, many of the card-based dating apps use a desirability score, or ELO.
Yeah. Have any of you ever been on Tinder? I've been on Tinder.
The more you match with people you swipe right on, the more desirable you're
Not for
considered.
the proper reason of
The app
Tinder,
then
though.
pushes your profile to more people. This process has little to do with making a match. The goal is to keep people on the platform by dangling desirable
Oh, yeah.
individuals in front of them.
And they usually
The
show
more
you the
attractive
most
people you
desirable
see,
people right
the
after
more
you
likely
sign
you are
up.
to feel hope that the one is out there and you won't delete the app. It's similar to how lotteries lure you in with bigger jackpots. Even though the odds are still next to impossible, the increasing pile of money keeps you hopeful when despair is the more appropriate
And I'm
response.
pretty convinced that the
When
fake
someone ranks higher,
profiles
does it
that
make
are
them
there, they're made by Tinder or paid by Tinder just to keep people going, because you always like see these extremely beautiful people that don't even match the genetics of your region, and they always like pretend to be tourists or something, and when you try to talk to them because you matched, um you just realize that they're fake. Like nothing matches basically. And I've come to a place before where I've seen the same person on different profiles with like different pictures and some of the same pictures 3 or 4 times, which was like super duper weird. Like imagine the same person having 3 or 4 profiles. I don't believe that, because I think that the way you sign in, you have to do it with a phone number. So it's like pretty weird. They want to keep people on the app, and I think that's one of the strategies that they do. That's just my thoughts. It's not a stated fact.
more likely to be good in a relationship? It just means that people
Coworkers
found them
were
attractive based
adamant
on the superficial
Tinder
criteria.
was just for one night stands.
Putting more of these people in your set of cards does nothing to increase your
what
odds
they
of finding
say.
love, it just
It
increases
doesn't
the odds of you
necessarily
staying
need
on
to
the
be
platform. Those with lower scores are shown less often,
that.
which
I've
gives
never
them
used
two
it for
options:
that.
give up, or pay to have their profile boosted. This common feature among the apps exploits
Actually
people who
dated
don't present well
long-term
for profit.
someone that
Being
I
able
met
to
on
boost your
Tinder.
profile just gets you back to a more level playing field that you shouldn't have been denied in the first place.
Your sister
Remember
did.
that these
Yeah, it makes
platforms
sense.
are, above all else, money-making systems. As we discussed in our recent video on algorithms, the bias towards profit has consequences, and in the case of dating apps, those consequences may be the dire state of the dating landscape or your chances for lasting love.
Oof.
Maybe the most disastrous thing about dating apps is that we're ultimately commodifying love, and that can change the way we view and experience it.
It really causes so many different negative effects on society as well. Like guys, instead of approaching women in real life now, for years I think a lot of guys have never or rarely approached women in real life, just because they feel like it's so easy, so much easier on Tinder. You just like swipe and then you talk to her, and then you don't have to face all the hormones of stress of just reaching out to a person that's standing right in front of you, and having the fear that maybe she'll be rude and obnoxious or scream or react in a weird way that will attract more attention to you that is not wanted. And it puts people in this comfortable zone that is not a real thing. And just because you see like extremely beautiful women and you can swipe on them doesn't mean that you're able to actually get them in real life as well. I've been on Tinder, but barely any matches. Oof. Do you slide on a lot of people to the right that you wouldn't actually date because of the lack of matches? Like, do you see yourself compromising because of that?
When we're attracted to someone, our brain releases the chemical dopamine as a reward response. Online dating apps train us to constantly seek this dopamine hit from attraction or lust. Then when we're with someone, we're no longer getting that high of attraction. We know it can easily be found on an app in our pocket. All we
Also,
have to
like,
do is go
another disadvantage. You see the person in front of you. Let's say you go to the supermarket and you see a lady that you really like how she looks. You see her in real life. And on the pictures, it's not the same, and everybody's going to put their best picture on. And then it creates this additional level of rejection that wouldn't have been there if you just approached women in real life, because of course she's gonna put her best pictures, and then you meet her and you're like, okay, see that it's her, but here she's an 8 and here she's a 6. Can I live with that? And a lot of guys are like, no, next.
deceive, or abruptly break up with someone in order to get it again. Even just looking at an attractive person on your app will give you a hit of dopamine, making loyalty to a lover much less appealing.
Why would
get
you
hooked
be
into
on
a
a dating
reward
app
cycle
if you
that
have a
becomes
lover?
addictive. Just as you get a blip of joy from a like on social media, you get a hit of dopamine from a match on Tinder. It keeps you coming back even if you've found someone worth keeping. Most of us have been with someone we loved and still question whether there was someone better out there. Apps like Tinder exploit this feeling. They overwhelm you with choice, making you feel like you're never making the
Instagram.
right one. And so you move on, back to the phone, back to the dopamine hits so readily available.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you've been before on a date from a dating app where the person either put pictures that are from a while back where they still looked young and beautiful and now they just look like a shell of themselves. I'm sorry, this happens sometimes. Or maybe they look like completely different. I used to think that us girls do this, but man, I've seen this with men. It's pretty crazy. I once went on a date purely because I was bored. I wasn't really looking for anything. And the guy, when he came onto the date, he was like 10 or 15 years looking older than on the picture. And then I realized that, like, the second picture that he put on, because he had like two pictures, the second picture wasn't even his. So guys do that too. It's not just women. It's pretty crazy. Like, the catfishing is serious on these dating apps. Once when I was in college, I was on a dating site and went on a date with a girl in person. She looked nothing like her profile picture. Oh shit. So I always have this fear of like, oh shit, it's gonna happen
As
to
you
me
go on
too.
dates and start relationships, the app is always dangling that shinier object or human being right in front of you. Because it's so fast and easy to get a new shot of dopamine by simply opening the app on our phones, we don't give ourselves enough time to get to know a person. Once a date gets even slightly boring, we're off to the bathroom to find the next dopamine hit.
That's insane. Like,
The
that's
problem with this is that although
I
we're
don't
spiking
think that
our
we
brains
should
for
judge by this
dopamine, we
behavior.
aren't spending enough time in
That's a
relationships
norm.
for our brains to produce oxytocin, or those warm, cuddly feelings, which are more common in long-term relationships or with close friends and family. Oxytocin helps
Also, we
reduce
need
our
to
blood
realize
pressure
that
and
movies
cortisol levels,
brainwashed
which
us.
help reduce stress. It
Love is
also
not what
promotes
happens
growth
in the
and healing.
movies.
If you've ever been in a long-term loving relationship, you know just how at peace you feel. How when you're with this person, everything feels alright with the world. Dating apps are weaning us off of this feeling. Now, if those were the only problems with dating apps, then maybe the situation wouldn't be so dire, but sadly, there's more.
There's a lot
Like
more.
most online interactions, dating apps are often devoid of the empathy and consideration you typically get in real-world interactions. Sure, there are bad experiences to be had at your workplace or school, and occasionally, someone will behave callously towards you in person, but these bad experiences are far more prevalent online, where people can hide behind
Have
their
any of
computer
you guys
screens.
ever gone on a blind
The odd thing
date?
about this, though, is that even with all
Like,
of their
not
issues,
even knowing what the person
dating
looks
apps
like?
seem to work. People do find
Maybe your
long-lasting
friend set
relationships on
you
these
up or
platforms.
something?
And of course, people looking for hookups find that
Strike
too.
up a convo and be
Meeting
friendly,
people
but
in
I
real
don't
life is
get a
hard,
lot of
maybe harder these
responses.
days than ever before. When you meet someone
Maybe
in
I'm
real
bad
life
at
and you
stringing
ask
up
them on a date,
starting
you're
up
taking a big
convos.
risk. And we're all
How do you
hyper aware
usually
of that
start?
risk. Well, most of us. If
Takeaway
you
is
ask a
here I'm
colleague or a peer on a date, for
famished.
example, you're more likely to face some level of scrutiny now, even if it's small.
Blame
And if you
Lucio,
ask for
how
someone's
long?
number in a grocery store, well, maybe you become the
Since you
weirdo
had a
people complain
girlfriend.
about on Twitter.
Zao, hello?
Considering this, it's not hard to see why people want anonymity in their dating life.
Okay, for those of you who wear glasses, I have to ask, because I don't know if it's just me, but you know, like, if you have like a proper number, because my number is over 3 now. But the moments where I'm not wearing lenses or glasses, I walk out the street and everybody looks so much more beautiful. It's like my brain fills the gap between what I see and don't see in the most perfect way. So if a person is like with my blurry vision a 7, my brain gives it another 2, and now they automatically look like a 9. But then I put my glasses on and they're like a 5. And not that I'm a fan of like grading people with numbers, it's just like a tool to illustrate what I'm trying to say in numerical values. I went on a blind date, I think once I was in a teen. I went once as well and never again. Ever. It was the worst date ever. It was with my buddy's girlfriend's friend. Ooh, nice. Did they actually match what they thought that you like and what you actually liked? I think I see you in 3 different chats almost every day. Ooh, Zhao, you're social butterfly. I wouldn't mind going on a blind date. Sounds like kind of exciting. Yeah, it's like a Russian roulette. What are the chances that they actually get what you like? I'd say very, very incredibly slim. But then again, maybe you're a little less picky than me because I'm like so picky, it's crazy. Same Logan, we just like the same shit. Ooh, ooh. It's good to have you guys here. It does seem that way. She ended up being my first girlfriend. I still have a picture of us. Oh my god, that's amazing. I think that's the best story that I've ever heard about blind dates.
Still, these dating apps don't need to be set up algorithmically to
That is
encourage
so rare.
cruelty or gouge less desirable people for
Hello?
money. Instead, we should empathize getting to know someone before a date and caring about them as human beings first, not just another item for sale at the nearby big box store.
Obviously.
To do that, though, we need to crack open the black box and fundamentally change how the algorithms that power these dating apps work.